Hey, what's up folks? Welcome back to another 3D Hangouts. My name is Noah Ruiz. I'm a designer here at Adafruit, and joining me every week is Mr. Pedro.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pedro Ruiz, creative tech here at Adafruit, and every week we're here to share 3D print projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That's right. This is where we combine 3D printing and DIY electronics to make inspirational projects. Hello, everybody. We're hanging out in the Discord chat room.
The Discord tunnel. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning,
hanging out. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are around the world. Giving shout outs to everybody hanging out in the chat rooms. We are hanging out in the Discord at discord.com. discord.gg/Adafruit. Everybody hanging out in there. We're in the YouTube chat, on Facebook, on Twitch, and all of the other streaming services like Periscope and LinkedIn.
Yeah, we fixed LinkedIn, I noticed, so that's great. So we got all the different channels.
Shout outs to Jim Henderson, we got Gary Z, we got CW Flemmer, Dantias, Garrett, and Ryan Anderson hanging out in the YouTube chat. Over on the Discord, the usual suspects hanging out. We got Mr. Certainly Bruce, Uha07, and over on the Facebook as well. Good morning, everybody from sunny Florida.
Yeah. All right, well, we'll kick off the show with some of the housekeeping stuff. We'll first start off with the freebies. So if you want to pick up anything in the Adafruit shop, there are some freebie deals going on. I'm going to skip the details, but if you go to adafruit.com/free, you can see all the different tiers. There's something for everybody, and we're still doing the 100 days of masking. All right. Next up, I want to talk about the Circuit Python meetings that happen on Discord every Monday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. It's a great way to check in with the community and the fine folks that are developing Circuit Python. This happens on the Discord server every Monday at 2 p.m. With the exception of US holidays on the Monday, it'll proceed on the following day. But you can hit up adafru.it/Discord. That's the alternative link to get invited to Discord, so check that out. We got newsletters as well to run through. So the daily newsletters, you can subscribe to all the different categories that we have set up by heading over to adafruitdaily.com. You can subscribe at your own leisure. And then for product-focused newsletters, this one happens once a week as new things get added to the Adafruit shop. A good way to get that in your inbox is to subscribe to the newsletter. adafruit.com/newsletter for that one. Sweet. All right, Adafruit's shipping their orders safely. This is a pre-COVID photo. So your orders support everybody here. So we appreciate y'all ordering things every now and then.
I feel like we need to Photoshop masks on everyone, just so we don't have to say that anymore.
Yeah.
But then it'd be like, it's not 6 feet apart.
Yeah, maybe this one helps. Yeah. Yeah. So keep your mask on, even though people are telling you not to wear it anymore. It's crazy. We still stand by you should wear a mask.
Which means that we still have a free mask with every order?
That's right. The black surgical ones. Like I said, 100 days of masking. We still got days. Wish we could do 1,000 days of masking. All right, well I think that's it for the intro stuff. Oh, don't forget, jobs board. Adafruit has a jobs board. Check that out at jobs.adafruit.com. If you're an employer or if you're a maker and you want to post up your skills, you can do so for free. Also, if you're an employer and you're looking for some makers, you can browse folks' profiles. And all of the job offerings and screenings there are screened by Lamar and Phil themselves, so there's no spam here. But yeah, check it out, jobs.adafruit.com. All right, I'm gonna jump back over to the Discord chat room and say hello before we start jamming out here with our project.
Hello, hello. We got Vince joining in. Hello, chats over here on the Facebook. Good morning, Savvy. Thank you all for hanging out this lovely morning.
Yeah. Are you folks ready to jump into the current project that we're working on?
Let's go ahead and check out this super awesome Pico MIDI.
All right. So this is our project that we're working on. It's a collab project with Liz Clark. And it's basically a MIDI device. So if you've ever heard of the MIDI Fighter from DJ Tech Tools, it's basically a MIDI fighter. It uses arcade buttons to make a musical instrument that can be used with anything that supports MIDI. So in this case, I have a little iPhone here set up with GarageBand, and the Pico, the Raspberry Pi Pico, is the brains and the heart of this project. So the Pico is that $4 board that came out in January, and it can run CircuitPython. It can do USB HID, and there's a really nice MIDI library for CircuitPython that runs really well on the Pico. The Pico has tons of GPIO, enough to get an array of 16 buttons. So that's what we have here. So during January, I was doing a beat a day, and one of the things that I kind of came up with an idea is that it'd be really nice if I could program and change the notes while coming up with the kit. Instead of having to kind of tweak the code and change the values, I thought it'd be really cool if we had a display that can do that. So Liz put this together. This is an OLED display. It's a grayscale version. And the idea is that she put together a grid of 16 circles, and each circle has a number, and that number is a MIDI note. So if I wanted to change this note here, I use this 5-way joystick, right? So it's very intuitive. As you kind of move left and right and up and down, you kind of get this expected UI behavior, which is so good. So you have this little selection here, this little stroke. The outline lets you know what button you're selecting. And let's say I want to change this key here. Right now it says it's 70. Is that 70? Yeah, 78. So I wanted to change that. I can click in with the joystick, and now the LED is lighting up, letting me know, hey, this is active, and you can change it. The display now shows this giant circle with a number here, and that's telling me what the number is. So now I can either use up and down to go up and down in the note, or left and right to go, back and forth. So it's really intuitive that way. And with it, blinking, it's really nice. Also, you can press the button to see, is that the right note that I want? And that is the right note. I'm going to put my headphones on so I can kind of hear what that note is. So that's great. Another really cool thing is while it's in edit mode, right, I'm editing this, I can play notes around it. So I know that that's the note I want. I think I just got one stuck. Let me fix that. I just got a note that's stuck. So I'll just, go to a different MIDI software instrument. And this is GarageBand on this iOS device here. So when it comes to latency, I don't seem to notice any. So that's really good for live performancing. Like it's working really, really well. So that's a little demo of kind of the idea behind the screen and the joystick. Yeah, so that is a quick little demo of it. You can hold as many buttons as you want down, as long as your synth can support, you could probably hold them all down, which is kind of fun. Yeah, so the LEDs will stay lit as your button stays held down. So that's really nice, and as you release, the LED turns off, so that's really cool. And I have notes, because it's a lot to cover. But yeah, if anybody has any questions during the stream, you can throw them into the Discord chat room, and we'll kind of answer them. So again, this is all running off of CircuitPython, and Liz Clark put the code together, and we're collaborating on this one. So yeah, we talked about the USB MIDI library, which is for CircuitPython. We have quite a few different USB MIDI projects as well, and the reason why we're using the Raspberry Pi is because it just has all those GPIOs that we need. Okay. All right, so I'll talk a bit about the case design. So all the parts are 3D printed, and you got your button grid over here, and over here you have the display, the joystick, and the Pico. Underneath the Pico is an LED driver, which I can show you folks right now. It's this LED driver. It's a fairly new product, and it runs over I2C. So you can daisy chain it because it has stemma QT. So that's actually how we're doing this. We're daisy chaining the OLED display and the LED driver here. So this is kind of it does double duty here. It can be a GPIO expander, or it can be an LED driver. In this project, we're using it as an LED driver. And really, really nice to have the Stemma QT connection so that we can daisy chain our things together. So that is currently in stock. It's only $5. So if you want to pick that up, I think it's really nice. Let's say we wanted to do this project with a Feather. Feather doesn't have like all the GPIO to do a 16 button with LEDs, so you can have multiple. I think you put 4 of these together and have like a crazy arrangement of more buttons and GPIO. So that's really cool. And you can do some fancy current dimming as well with LEDs if you chose to do so. Yeah, and then the second the second product is the display. So it's an OLED display. It works really well with CircuitPython. It's a grayscale display, 128 by 128. They're in stock right now, and there's 2 Stemma QT connections on the back too, as well as breakouts. So it's really nice to get all the pins you would want for making a display run over I2C in CircuitPython. Sweet. Right. And then the Raspberry Pi Pico is in high demand, and they're out of stock because they're in high demand. But that's a $4 board. You can get it at different places, and yeah, we just really like it because it works with CircuitPython really well. Yeah.
I'm posting all the links to get all of these. If any are out of stock, you can click on the notify me. You can get an email when those get back.
Cool. The next thing I'll show is these LED buttons, right? So there's several different LED type of buttons. The enclosure is designed for these 30mm diameter buttons, and they have the LED built into them. These are really nice because they have the LED built into them. They come in different colors, which you can get, but I really like the white one because it just is going to match whatever color I choose, I think. So yeah, it has the markings are a little different, I think, in our latest thing. Here's one of them. I'll see if I can turn the thing on. I just want to show like the button here, so you can see. Oh, this one doesn't. So some of them are going to have markings, and some of them aren't going to have markings. So this one does not have that marking. But yeah, this right here, the gray is the button, and down here is the LED, and that's how I kind of tell them apart. And they're pretty responsive, right? They work really well. They have this little hex nut that you screw into, so they're pound mounted that way. And yeah, I like that it's nicely diffused. It's a nicely diffused button. Fun, fun, fun. I want to change it back to that thing, but I'm afraid it might not like my sticky button.
A quick question from Vince on the Pico. It has an entire Linux distro?
No,
this is completely different from the
Raspberry
Pi.
Yeah, it's a microcontroller. It doesn't run Linux. It can run CircuitPython.
And MicroPython.
And MicroPython.
And then one day, probably Arduino.
Probably Arduino.
So think of it like that way. It doesn't have an operating system. It is a microcontroller, like an Arduino.
Yeah. Yes. Very cool. All right. Let me revert back to my notes and jump into Discord chat room.
Then we got questions about more stocks for the Picos coming in. Yeah, as soon as they come in, we'll put them right in the stock. There seems to be a little shortage, global shortage on chips. So that is why.
Yes.
And it's not just us, it's global.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason why we're still waiting for that Model Y to come in.
So one last thing I want to talk about, like feature-wise, this 3D printed handle I talked about maybe a couple weeks ago now. It has a print-in-place hinge, which works really well to make this handle, but I really wanted to turn it into a kickstand as well. So I've modified it so that the handle can click and lock into position, and then it can be used as a kickstand. This edge here, I drafted the angle so that it's at an incline here, so that when it is on a flat surface, it is propped up a little bit. It gives you about like 12 degrees, so that's really nice as a kickstand. It also works as a handle, of course, too. But I really like that added feature. Just those two things, like there used to be a hole here that clicks in and you can unlock it. You can click it back in and now it'll stay in place there. And I like using the silicone mat as it keeps it from slipping all over the place. So that was a really neat one. What else can we talk about? So it's I like to do snap fit enclosures. And there are screws here, but they just secure the components to the top piece here, but it is a snap fit enclosure and it's really easy to kind of open it. So I can do this right here and then just take it apart. See on the inside there. I'm going to go here so that now none of the MIDIs will get mistriggered. But here's a quick look at the wiring. The previous edit had the Pico and the LED driver mounted to the bottom, but now I've switched it because if it was mounted to the bottom, well, it had all these wires kind of coming this way. So now that it's mounted to the top, everything's contained in the top here, and the only thing that's mounted to the other sides is this here USB extension cable, which is nice. It's a stock cable. I didn't have to cut it, which is normally what I have to do, but it's a stock cable and it works really well. Right, so all the grounds here, the buttons are all shared together. So they're all daisy chained, and then there's a ground pin available in the display here, the OLED display, so that's really cool. And then you can see here that I got the daisy chaining, basically both of these STEM QT connectors are being used up. So one goes to the Pico, and the other one goes to the LED driver here, which is right there. Yeah, and then the PCB mount has like three stages of like standoffs. There's a good amount of standoffs here. It's funny. There's M3, M2.5, and M2. So all of the M's, which is really cool. Now to get the 5-way navigation switch to fit and to be panel mounted, we have some clever ways to go about doing it, right? I'm going to close it back up and then kind of show that off here. So 3 different ways to mount a 5 navigation switch. We designed our own PCB. At first, we milled it, right? So we CNC milled this one, and we routed it in routing software, whatever software. I'm trying to focus. Here we go. So really, really cool way to kind of quickly iterate a thing. And then we turn this over to OshPark so we can get silk screen and a nice routing and gold or copper plating here, through hole plating really well. You get that nice stuff. So there's 2 different things. And then Liz thought, hey, we should 3D print it as well. So she put this one together, and this can still come off here.
Oh, careful.
Yeah, don't bend the legs or whatever.
No, like stab yourself.
Oh.
That's how I stabbed myself, removing one of those.
Right. So yeah, it's a great thing that you can 3D print every aspect of it, even the PCB for this little guy. So the idea is that you would just solder to these legs here, and then you can bend these down to kind of hold it more in place. And then these mounting holes here are designed to fit into the top panel. So that's a really sweet way. So you get up, down, left, right, and then center to click. So that's really cool. So we have some options. Folks can mill it, they can get it to OshPark, or just 3D print it. I think a lot of folks are just going to 3D print it because you can totally do that. So we wanted to make this as accessible as possible, right? So another thing that folks might not have is that this little window here is a bit of a feature to it. It is CNC milled. You could laser cut it as well, but we thought, hey, why don't we, not that one, why don't we 3D print it as well? So I designed a little window here that is this one. I designed a little window here so you can see that you can still get that effect. It might not be as clear as this, but you can print this in different translucent PLA filament. And this little lip here is designed to kind of have a tight tolerance so that it has some surface to grab onto. So that's why I have it designed like that. And then this lip here will keep it so that it won't be pushed all the way down. So that's pretty neat. And I also have one here that's cut out so you can get styly and maybe make it say something like MIDI. MIDI, M-I-D-I. That's the MIDI logo. I just brought it into Fusion and did an extrude. And you can make some cutouts here and have some fun. So everything can be 3D printed. The PCB and this acrylic window. So those are the latest kind of things that I wanted to share on that. Yeah. Oh, that's right. I have to go to the thing to activate it. So we're working on the Learn Guide for it, and we'll have it ready by, I think, Wednesday of next week, which is what we're aiming for. But the code is already available on GitHub if folks want to get on it. It's in the Adafruit Learn repo, so folks can check that out. I have a link here if folks want to check it out. It's already public, so check it out. And it's commented too, so you can get a good look at how everything is working. And if you want to change the pins or add more buttons or less buttons, it's all commented, so you can read through it. Awesome job by Liz. All right. I'm going to revert to my notes again, see if I covered all the things I wanted to cover.
I posted on the links to everything we're talking about. There were some questions about the clear acrylic that we went over. Yep, it is CNC'd, not laser cut, because I don't think you can use a laser on a PCB, right?
Yeah, so the way you could laser cut it, it would be like a straight cut. I don't think you can do this, right, with the laser. If anyone uses a laser, can you do sort of this sort of shape in lasering? I don't know if you can. But there's basically a small lip here, and that allows the case to have some area to lock into. So yeah, this one's CNC milled, and we have some more stuff that we'll talk about with CNC milling after this demo. But yeah, this is some fluorescent green acrylic that I got from Inventables, and there's a lot of different fluorescent UV reactive kind of thing.
And then Tim, pulling off of that, I posted the link to the layer by layer on how you made the cool patterns with the CNC. I don't know if you want to talk about that yet, maybe a little bit further down in the guide. And then we have some comments for, I'm guessing it's a MIDI software. Portasonic is asking if you've tried Sunvox.
I have not. This will work with just about any of the, anything that can accept MIDI. I don't think I have Nano Studio in here, but that's like my other favorite piece of software that I like to use. I'm using an iOS device because it's like the easiest way I can get this working with Wirecast right now. And if you're noticing, what is this dongle here? The dongle takes the Lightning connector and gives you that USB-A connector that you can plug in any camera, or in this case, a USB MIDI device. And it's a native USB MIDI device. You plug this in, and it says the vendor is Raspberry Pi Pico, which is really cool. And then to get audio out, I have this audio cable. It's just a regular 3.5 millimeter cable that goes into my little USB mixer that's off frame over here. But that takes both of our mics, plus this has a line in, and it lets you guys hear it. So that's how that's working. Yeah, I think next week I'll do like live, like setting up a drum kit. I think that'd be really cool to do. Just to kind of showcase that workflow of like kind of coming up with the kit. And for me, like that's like my jam, is like coming up with a kit, and like there's some standards and stuff that I'm used to that I want to talk about. Like I like to have my kicks over here, my tom-toms right here, I got my cymbals over here, and then normally this is the kick. But anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yeah, so to work with any MIDI software that takes and accepts an external MIDI device. Yeah. It just works, by the way, too. Like you just plug it in for GarageBand anyway. Just plug it in. It just sees it. There's no extra setup that you have to do. That's normally the case with iOS devices. They handle MIDI pretty well, I think.
Yeah, Portasonic saying this is looks cool. It's gonna set a reminder for when the project is released. They just set up one of the Pibos from, or Kibo from, I think that's the Pyromon you on?
Yeah, sure. I'm just a real big fan of arcade buttons. Like the responsiveness of them,
Yeah.
they're just so nice. I know they sound a little. There's different arcade buttons you can get that have less of a clicky sound, but when it comes to like tactile feel and stuff, they're just my favorite. This is like the first one that's like a true MIDI device that's running off CircuitPython that I'm working on. Yeah, super dope.
They're saying, this message. Portasonic is saying, yeah, they're using the Kibo together with the Akai unit, or Akai unit.
Yeah, cool.
And then more comments on, yeah, the laser would not be ideal for that lip. Looks
Yeah,
nice.
the lip. There you go. It's a bit of a flange. Yeah. Yeesh.
And then request for an 8x8 sized Pico one. You do have one, don't you?
No, that's 4x4. 8x8's a ton.
369, 9x9.
That's where you want to get.
Or 3x3.
You would want to daisy chain a few of these together, and then you get all the GPIO, and you could probably even use the feather. I would really like to use the feather here, but it just doesn't have enough. It just doesn't have enough I/O. I'd have to use more of these. But yeah, you could use more of these here. It gives you 16 more GPIO. Oh man, that focus is awful. Let's see.
Plasma Dolphin is saying, yeah, it would be more expensive with all those buttons.
Yeah, the more buttons you add, the more cost you add to it. I think you can get some cheap buttons from like AliExpress, Alibaba. They're going to take a month or whatever to ship, but that's on you. You can choose whatever buttons you want, which is really cool. Yeah.
And then Robbie AZ123 is saying, this looks fantastic. They just got the Akai MPK Mini. Start learning and making some synth music. Do we have a kit for this next week?
Yeah, depending on how many people like build this or show interest, then that'll dictate whether we make a proper kit. The last kit that we put together, I think, was the Lightsaber kit, because just a lot of folks were searching for it, and our CS team compiles all the stats, and they determine that's how we get a kit when folks are searching for it. So search for it, I guess. I don't know, like MIDI Fighter. Just search for MIDI Fighter.
And then questions on, could you replace the buttons with pads instead? Do they have
What kind of pads?
Pad, like a button? Like instead of it being a button, it's a pad?
Yeah, so we have something like that already, and that is a Neo Trellis device. That's what you would want to look at. The Neo Trellis has that rubber elastomer pads. That's the closest thing that we carry, we design, we make sort of thing. So Neo Trellis. And I will be honest about it. For performances, finger drumming, these are very mushy and not as responsive as arcade buttons. If you're doing like a step sequencer, that sort of thing, a step sequencer, that's great. But for what I'm doing, like performance pressing and the responsiveness of it, these are mushy. I don't want to, just for this application, I don't think it's the best, right? But it's still a great, device. But yeah, this one's kind of already ready to go, and it already runs MIDI natively. But yeah, it also can be Arduino and CircuitPython, and there's quite a few projects in the Learn system that shows you how to use it as more than just a MIDI controller. You can use it as a soundboard, which is really cool. And here's that 8x8 pack. If you really like the pads, the rubber pads, here's an 8x8 kit that we sell here. It runs an M4, which is perfect. Yeah, that's cool. Buttons galore. Cool. Any questions?
Just comments on people wanting a drum machine. I could put a link to the Learn guide on a couple of them.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I think next week I'll switch it up to a drum, and then you know we'll create a drum kit.
Another couple of different
like
ways to do that.
For sure. Yep.
Even a servo-driven drum
right,
machine.
solenoid-driven drum. If you want to hit a real drum, yeah, there's plenty of fun drum machines in the Learn system. We don't have a MIDI fighter yet, which is why I'm happy about this. Oh man, super cool.
And then comparisons with the Neo Trellis, between that and the Neo Trellis.
Yeah, for me, it's all about the button response and feel. And the Neo Trellis, if you don't want that responsive quickness, like I just can't do that. Like I can't do that with the buttons on the Neo Trellis or any type of rubber elastomer thing. I actually bought one of the Akai drum machine MIDI things quite a few years ago, and like I never used it because like they just never felt responsive enough for me. Like they just felt terrible. I think it was from Akai too, the little the MIDI kind of soft pads.
It's all preferences.
It is all preferences.
64 Haps is saying that the, I think he's talking about the arcade buttons, saying that they look real mushy during prolonged periods of playing it. It does start to hurt your fingers. Soft pads, definitely the way to go.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, it's all preferences. Yep. I like to work out my fingers. I think it's a good workout.
It's pretty easy to hit these.
Yeah. If you want like really responsive buttons, the Sanwa buttons are they're like the most responsive, and they have different styles that are designed for like super rapidness. It's almost like a Cherry MX switch, where different colors will tell you like which is the clickiness or which is the responsiveness to it. And there's ways to like dampen the noise too if you really want.
Yeah, it's funny.
But like there's
yeah, that's what they mean.
Yeah.
Huh.
But hey, you're free to use whatever button that
that's why
you
there's
like.
so many different types.
Correct. Yeah. Cool.
And then
It's great that the LED is built in. The ones I just showed you don't have LEDs, but some of them do.
And then people are
depends where you
saying
get it.
some button slicers, and they're posting links to what one looks like. Looks like a little dampener.
I might need a spudger tool, I might not. We'll see. Yeah, I don't think I have a spudger tool. Do we have any type of, maybe that audio cable? Yeah, let me see if that audio cable will work. So you can totally hack these, and I don't know if this is the best use of my time, but why not, right?
And then some comments on the arcade sticks says buttons will make your fingertips numb. And modded their MIDI fighter.
This used to come out.
And then general questions about the software. Are they able to do velocity through the pads?
These currently do not. I've actually never opened this one. That's funny. Yeah, there's the PCB for the LED. And I suppose you could put some rubber something in between here. But yeah.
VP is saying 3D print the buttons.
We totally have. We actually did quite a few years ago. You can totally do it. I had a spring inside there. They feel terrible though. They just feel terrible because of the layer lines. Yeah, I think that's where you want to add the dampener. Turning the focus off.
And then Marky is saying that, yeah, the Sanwa buttons are just on and off, no velocity.
No, yeah, no. But we were thinking like maybe some knobs and things to do either modulation or, like you said, the MIDI velocity, note velocity. Yeah.
Oh, crap. Looks like we've ended.
What do you mean?
Let's see.
How?
Oh, no, we're good.
Yeah, I see that. It's like error. All right, bear with us, folks. Yeah, it says we're not streaming. Right here.
Oh, no, we're still live.
Okay.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's a weird Wirecast issue. All right, cool. Well, that is the project. Next week we will have a Learn Guide, and we'll walk through the build assembly, and we'll take a look at the code as well. But right now, we were just showing off the some of the features and playing some sounds and things.
Yay, just hyping up. And it looks like you guys are interested, so yay. Good vibes on that one. We'll make sure
Great,
we'll
yeah.
put extra
I hope more folks
polish touch on these.
Yeah, we really want to make it so that if you've never soldered anything or you've never programmed anything, you can absolutely do this. yeah, that's the whole goal. CircuitPython is designed for beginners, and Adafruit really prides themselves in beginners first, right? So I will document it as much as I can to make it an easy build for anyone who's never played with electronics before.
All right, and then general more comments from Protosonic saying, yeah, this would be great for a sequencer.
Yeah, that would be really cool too.
And
Right.
then Remy made a MIDI cap touch pad with custom PCBs and the MPR 21.
Ah, that's great. Yes.
121.
Yes, we have done something similar.
We need to redo that.
Really,
What's
really
the,
cool.
The updated STEMMA version of the MPR.
This year we're going to do so many musical projects.
Yeah,
It's
if you guys
so
go through
rewarding.
the Learn Guide on just all the MIDI projects, you can see like between John Park and Noel, they made like so many.
Yeah, and Liz too.
Liz, yeah.
Really, it's
Yeah, I think
Liz is kind of
let's go ahead and just include everybody. I think
Yeah.
everybody has made one.
sure. All right.
And then some comments on, yeah, this is a great gateway to Eurorack DIY.
Yeah, it's happening.
Yeah, it's one of those hobbies that pulls you in.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. So last week we talked about the fairy wings, and it took up the entire show, so
Yeah.
we can go ahead and look at some of the things we're prototyping and some of the Timelapse Tuesdays from the community makes this week.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll jump into prototyping stuff.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so lots of talk on the little companion robots, and with, I guess, Easter coming up.
Oh, that's
It'd be
that's
good
great.
for like a little egg robot from Zelda Breath of the Wild.
Age of Calamity,
Age of
the
Calamity.
latest installment of Zelda, the Legend of Zelda video game for the Nintendo Switch.
So because everybody has to make a cute little baby version of whatever the last thing
Like Chip,
was.
like the little baby R2D2 is Chip.
R2D2 or the Baby Yoda. Who can
Right.
forget Baby Yoda?
Yeah, he's right back there.
Nintendo, of course, made a Guardian robot, the baby version of it. So this is going to be one of those little egg robots. It's going to be a shoulder robot,
Right.
so that it can hang onto your shoulder with some magnets on the bottom. It'll have the little feet dangling, and it'll have a servo inside, so it'll just go left and right. Not sure if I'm going to have the little whistle that goes on top to add some more functionality to that, but it'll at least be, what did Lamar say? I think itsy bitsy inside there with some LEDs, like an LED ring or something,
Yeah.
to have all the glow that is all around the little cute robot. And it'll just move its head back and forth, just like the previous Guardian robot build that Noah did. So just like nice little simple upgrade to that, all in CircuitPython, of course. That's the big thing about that. And then, yeah, just a super cute little Guardian robot to be on your desk or your shoulder. Just zzz, zzz, zzz. And then the little whistle. Yeah. It's a nice little way to, I don't know, I guess it's sort of Easter themed because he looks like an egg.
He's an egg, indeed.
But yeah, nice little more servo type projects that we wanted to get
Yeah.
into.
Cosplay and cosplay plops and CircuitPython really go well hand in hand together.
Yeah, and we figured since it's like one of our most popular videos, definitely got to remake that.
Yeah.
And instead of doing the snap together feet, we'll make these chainable this time. And Lamar
Catching place.
suggested having like a wire to go through there so you can position these and have him be a nice little posable little robot. I don't know, other things, I don't know, get IoT or something, so when you get an email, maybe his light lights up or something.
Yeah.
Goes,
Right.
maybe take a look at the mailbox project with the servo inside, so when you get a Gmail, instead of doing the flag going up, it'll just and then do a little flute.
Pager.
Yeah.
Email.
So a nice little cute project for that. All in Fusion 360. It was super fun trying to
These
do
are-
all of the
Oh.
what's it called, the form.
Yeah. Sculpt?
Sculpt.
You
yeah.
use Sculpt? Nice.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, waste for that. Cool.
Yeah. It's PLA printed. Any supports or anything?
No.
Yeah,
No
look at that.
supports.
No supports.
Yeah, everything's at an angle. You can kind of see
Yeah,
it
that's great.
there. You extrude that out, which we'll talk about when the project is released. All the CAD for it. It's you're just doing a taper when you extrude on that.
This marble PLA filament looks pretty nice.
Yeah.
Great for statues and things like that. Then you need a little bit of texture.
Yep.
It's kind of good.
All right, cool. So that is what's being prototyped. Coming soon.
Yay!
Super cute
Excellent.
baby robot.
Sweet. All right, heading over to Shop Talk. So if you are interested in CNC milling and engraving acrylic, I have a tutorial for you. And Pedro will post the link. It's in the notes. It's called Layer by Layer, Engraving CNC. So I went down the rabbit hole journey of learning how to create patterned engraving. So I put together this little kind of a workflow, right, to use the patterns inside the manufacturing workspace in Fusion 360 to make a nice geometric pattern, that can be kind of scaled. So I hadn't done that before, and the original idea was to just download some artwork and then kind of get that in Fusion, which you can do. And then the issue I came up with that is that I had to pick every single thing. So I came up with a way to use the pattern feature inside the manufacturing workspace to just generate this pattern out of just a couple simple shapes. So I have this little one that I'm going to share, which is a piece of acrylic again. And what I ended up doing was engraving some patterns on my 3x3 MIDI fighter. So I have here these circles, and this is actually the pattern that I show how to create in Fusion in the manufacturing workspace. And in the bottom here I have these hexagons, which is a nice pattern as well. So if you are interested in CNC engraving geometric patterns, I also show how a fail can arise by trying to reduce the machining time. If you reduce your clearance too low, you'll get some scarred like this, and I talk more about it in depth in the tutorial. But here's another piece of acrylic that's a bit edge lit. So if you're trying to do some edge lit engraving and you want to do some cool patterns, check out the tutorial. It's about half an hour or so, but I walk you through creating the sketch. And then I also show you some visual ways to kind of get an idea of how your patterns will look like. Yeah, so I hope folks dig it, and I will use that as a reference for every time I come back to CNC milling and engraving. I always have to relearn it, but I think doing a layer by layer will help out, cement it into my brain. So that's why I do those. Yeah, it'd be cool to make this window with that piece. My idea was to create my stock, get my thing, and then get the shape. But I wanted to have this piece because it's the only one I have, and I wanted to share that before I actually turn it into this. So I'll see how that looks like next week. Maybe it looks good, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. You see how this looks through it? It kind of takes away from the detail, but whatever, we'll see. So that's it, engraving.
Yay.
Yeah.
Good comments on the layer by layer for that.
Thanks, folks. Cool.
And
all right.
Some banter on the Discord. Link's breakfast quest. Got to break a few eggs and make a few omelets.
Oh, right. Cool.
It is still cooking in Age of Calamity, right?
Yeah, I think so. So folks are talking about the Eurorack and Eurorack synth. And I wanted to give a shout out to Liz Clark, who put together a case for her Euroracks, and we collaborate on the design. And she has a video up that shows her process for using a scroll saw to cut the pieces out of wood and just putting it together. The pieces here on the side are laser cut acrylic from Pinocchio. So if you've never tried a laser cut service, check out Pinocchio. And this is all on GitHub and Thingiverse, so if folks want to build their own Eurorack case, this is a good insight into doing that. So what I wanted to do is just kind of show a quick, some quick CAD stuff to kind of show. So the Eurorack is using these Z rails, and they are from Tip Top Audio, and these are the mounting rails that that you can use. They have a nice documentation. So you can grab the dimensions to recreate the rail in your CAD software. So I used these dimensions to create the rail. So that's just kind of how we came up. It was like, first let's design the rails. And the way they work, they're a little bit like a T-slot. So there's a center hole, and that is that's what's used to get the side panels. And then you have these M3 square nuts that get that go inside that railing in that little T-slot. And that's what you mount your Euroracks to. So the spacing is very particular. It's 5.08 millimeters. And then there's a length called HP. So like the smallest version is, the smallest length of your rail is 84. So you can just use user parameters in Fusion to just update how long you'd like it to be. So that's how we kind of put it together. It's a good look at how you can use user parameters to drive your design. It was really fun to put it together in Fusion. And what else would I say about it? We were playing around with creating like a template for Eurorack plates. So I just wanted to kind of test out and see if all the holes lined up and everything. So that's what I got going on here. I think what I'll do as a layer by layer is I wanted to show how I created the template. So I referenced this tech document, the spec sheet from Dofer, the website. And they kind of have a nice breakdown of the dimensions for the mounting holes. And they kind of talk about the HP for the module width as well. And then in Fusion, I put together a sketch that's driven with those user parameters so that we can kind of just input a number for the HP width. So in this case, it's like an 8 HP width. And again, that spacing is what defines the HP width. Like 1 HP is 5.08. So if you put 24 or 10 or whatever, it'll just automatically scale, which is really sweet if you're trying to do like something that you maybe want to get an SVG or a DXF and not necessarily a 3D model. You can use Fusion and user parameters to kind of get that artwork for you so that you can laser cut it, plasma cut it, or whatever manufacturing thing you'd like. I just really am into standard mounting holes, and like Eurorack is like all about the standard mounting holes, so that's super great. So I think I'm going to do that as the next layer by layer. I hope folks like that and they're into their Euroracks.
Adolfo's is saying, I've steered clear from Euroracks to save my wallet. So tempting, though.
Yeah, well, you know, Liz shows that you don't really need, you can do it on the cheap. And yeah. Sweet. So yeah, check that out. I have a link to it in the description too, so check it out. All right, I think that's it for Shop Talk.
All right, let's go ahead and jump into this week's Community Makes.
We got a good amount of them. I think it's this one here, so let's show the time lapse.
All right, so I don't know what the deal is with these MicroStacks. People are saying that they want some DIN rail mountable ones.
Yeah, so it's a storage solution.
I mean, they look really cool.
Yeah,
I like the assembly of them.
Yeah, they're modular. They're modular storage containers, and they have a really sweet assembly. And
of course, like the name suggests, they stack right on top of each other.
Right.
You can hide your valuables like a Raspberry Pi Pico. Your last bit of boards.
Yeah.
And then they just go right on top in that little wheel there.
Yeah, it locks them in place as it tightens those little
bottom.
hinges. Very, very cool. We'll have the Thingiverse page here. This is by Jacob. We've printed some of his designs before.
I really like the color combos that you can do with these.
Right, very cool. Here's like a nice little
assembly,
and there's a video as well. But just 8 pieces that you print separately. It's not print in place, right? Mm-hmm. So you can assemble this thing, and let's take a look at it.
Yes, you're absolutely right. Certainly Bruce is saying that these need googly eyes. Yeah, they do look like one of those robots from Batteries Not Included, huh?
Yeah.
That's super cute.
I'm trying to play with
So using the Rainbow Silk PLA here from Everyone, I think? Is the brand?
It's either Everyone or 3D Solutech. It's always those two.
Yeah, so these right here lock on to this, or push these into here, which have these little holes down at the bottom that unlock it. You twist these to get it open. There you go. Or like the assembly of these snap together. So this top lid just pops off from here, and you have like a little way to have that being open without going all the way down. So it can slide in like that. So you can leave it open. Nice amount of features.
Yeah, lots of cool detail. Very, the aesthetic is really nice.
The only change for this was, first, the apologies for the time lapse there. I had used the completely wrong profile for it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I think
Is that
I
what
had
it was
like
stringing?
yeah, I had the
Okay.
direct drive profile on there, so it was.
Oh, that wasn't enough
It was only
retraction.
like 2 millimeter retraction. It should have been 6.5.
Yeah.
So that's why it was all stringy and hairy there.
Okay.
And then the horizontal compensation was a negative 0.2 to have all these pieces fit together, like all the pins and all that.
Okay.
And yeah, just a really cool way to have a nice little storage for what have you.
Excellent.
Excellent little print here. I
Yeah,
really like it.
Yeah, you can
Super
check
cool.
it out on Thingiverse. You can check that. It's on there, or at least that's where we found it. Excellent. Cool.
And I got a couple more community
Yeah,
links.
I'm going to reverse just a little bit and go back to Shop Talk.
Oh.
I do want to call attention to Colts 3Ds. They're
yeah.
celebrating 7 years, so check them out. This is a great repo site. It's great to
Curated?
have more. Yeah, it's a curated site. Here's our Instagram site, and they're always sharing really, really awesome designs. Unlike some of the other repo sites, like they really don't have a curation. They've been doing this really, really well. Just a couple dudes, so check them out. If you're a designer and you want to get paid for your STLs, they're one of the best marketplaces to do so. So check it out, colts3d.com. And we also gave them a nice testimonial, so you want to check that out. We have a little testimonial of some nice things to say. So there you go.
Yeah, I want to print out that little phone holder that looks like an elephant. It's pretty
Sure,
cool.
yeah. All right. Yeah, so back over to Community Makes. I got a couple of things that came through. I think you'll like them. This one here, giving a huge shout out to Todd Kurt. Todd came up with a really elegant knob, a USB knob.
Oh, I
It's
love this.
a bit of a, what would you call it? USB knob, right, for your computer. It uses CircuitPython, and it's used in the USB HID library. And he shouted me out because he used our CAD models to create this this super stellar design. So you can check him out on. You can check out the project on GitHub. There's a YouTube video and a nice demos of it. Not just being a USB HID, but also MIDI. So that was really cool to see. Folks are like, "Hey, could I also do MIDI?" And he's like, "Yes, I can." And very, very cool. And this is a CAD explosion that just
I love
knocked
how
my
simple
socks
this
off.
is.
Like, this is so cool. So you can see here that the rotary encoder is the knob, and that like fits perfectly underneath the pins on the QT Pi, which is a really, really cute CircuitPython board. And then the NeoPixel ring gets mounted there on top. Super elegant way to create a light up knob. Super cool. And the effect looks great. Does this play like that on?
So
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, you can get a good look at the demo, I think, in another. It's so clean and,
Right.
and cute. A cute knob. Yeah, so huge shout out to Todd for tagging me on that one.
Super cool.
All right. Next up, we have one of the things that we like to do is make tools and rigs for us, and one of them was a tool to make it easier to do heat set inserts. So this is something that I've wanted for a minute, and I'm so happy that folks contributed to it. So we have on Thingiverse made a remix of the heat press. It's really more of like an addition. This here keeps the belt out of the belt. I'm sorry. This keeps the cable from the soldering iron away from getting burnt. So you can see here in this photo, it keeps that away, and it's just a nice little set of brackets that have a little channel here for the cable to kind of fit into, and these little snaps that kind of keep it in place. So yeah, it's really great to see. Anytime I need to do heat set inserts, I always pull it out. It's always where I need it to be. And if you're ever find yourself needing one, we have a really nice learn guide that walks you through the assembly. And I'm glad to see folks like adding to it.
Mhm.
And that's
I mean,
something
if it-
that I need to actually, next time I
Yeah.
do it, I'm going to print these out and get my cable set up. So huge shout out to Weava on Thingiverse for posting that remix. All right, we got another one. It's pretty simple. It's a 3D printed bumper for an Apple TV remote. We just made this just because like we needed one. So using Ninja Flex or any TPU flexible style filament, you can use that to create a nearly indestructible bumper for your devices like an Apple TV remote. So that's really nice. This one I'm really excited about. Do you remember the printer mill, Pedro?
Mm-hmm.
This is Naomi's printer mill and Maxzilla 2445 3D printed the Link's wooden sword that Pedro you put together, I think in Tinkercad or something, or was it Maya? Probably Maya.
I don't remember.
But he printed it on the mill, and it's like a perfect model to print in one piece.
And in wood, it looks like.
Yeah, he used wood filament. Came out great on a CR30. Is the CR30 the print mill, or is this something else?
No, I think it is the print mill.
Okay, well that's great to see the sword being printed.
Cool.
Yeah, that's great. So it was super fun to see. All right. Do the next one. The next one is an iPhone lens holder. So the iPhone 12 Pro Max holder for a 52mm filter. So Pedro, you talk about this? I don't know.
Hey,
it's a
I need one of
polarizer?
these. Yeah, it's a polarizer for when the sun is shining or having like a bunch of reflections over any object.
Like if you're doing like a display and you're getting all these
display, water, like
True,
a lot of things. Like the table like has a lot of reflections. We use this a ton when we're trying to get a nice clean look without any shininess going everywhere. And by shininess, I mean like glare.
Correct,
from
yeah.
that's like bouncing off the table. It gives it like this white look that doesn't look pleasing.
So this is a very useful thing, and for your iPhone 12, it has 3 different lenses. This is great, a great solution. I would imagine that this is for a mirrorless lens, like a 12mm lens or something.
Pro Max?
52.
I need this.
What do you mean?
I need to print this.
Oh, right. Well, you made this. See, this is a remix of your case.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Like, so good work, Pedro.
Sweet.
It looks like it press fits, and it has 2 pieces to it, so that's cool.
Very cool. We even have the 52mm lens that they're
I think
using
you do,
there.
right? So it's fun coming in here, not telling you like what the
This
it's
is
a
great.
surprise. I know, right? It's really cool. So shout out to Alexi for posting that remix up. It's a really useful one.
I gotta go print that right now.
Yeah, I know, right? Like we tend to use our
Jeez.
iPhones a lot for filming, and it's great to release something as simple as a case and then come back as something that's more useful. Like, hey, this thing holds
cool.
this. It's adapted, right?
Wow.
That's the open source community for you, folks.
Yeah.
All right, we're not done yet, folks. One last one. No, maybe it's not a last one, but this one was posted up on Prusa Printers. It's really nice to see other places getting makes, but this is the make of the heat set insert, and I just love this workshop photo of just like, this looks so good. Like it's being used. Look how many heat sets are there. Nice. It's like, that is why you want to make one of these. You got a whole slew of heat set inserts to make. This makes it easier, I think. So really, really fun to see this. Not just 1, but 2 photos. Oh yeah, 2 photos. Looks great. So if you find yourself doing some heat inserts, check it out. Oh man, you see how the cable is dangerously close to the tip? See, that's why you want to use the other thing, which is great. So thanks Dave Wilson for posting that up.
Very cool.
Yeah. All right. And now for some fun stuff. This one still gets a lot of makes. It's a little planter, right? Themed after the Mario Boo from Super Mario Brothers. And this one just looks really nice. So Zoom24 on Thingiverse posted this up with their succulent.
And a lot of makes of that. We should probably do a time lapse of that, huh?
Yeah, maybe. Looks great. All right, I think maybe one more. 2 more. Sorry. Almost there. This one's a really good one too. So it's a unicorn horn. This is super cool. I'll just read it from Chris on Twitter. Said they made their horse a light-up unicorn horn for Valentine's Day. Had the idea for ages. It's using the Adafruit NRF52 840 feather. As you can control it over Bluetooth. 12-volt NeoPixels, I suppose. I have not seen those. And then the horn is from Adafruit's Thingiverse. This is great.
Oh, cool.
This is so cool.
I think we wanted to do this ages ago as well.
Yeah.
Don't have access to a horse
Not
anymore.
yeah. But this is so
cool.
sweet. This is just cool. And of course, they won the whatever competition. How can you not win with a unicorn horn?
That's so
I take a lot of a lot of pleasure in like seeing the unicorn horn just make the rounds. Like, yeah, it's so cool. If folks want to learn how to design, how I designed it, you can check out my library. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, the next one is the last one. We're just catching up here with all the community makes. So this one was a sort of a sort of a wine holder for Valentine's Day.
Huh.
Yeah, honey and milk. There you go.
Oh, cool.
You can use this, remix it, modify it.
Yeah.
I think it's in Spanish.
Filamento.
Yeah.
Pusament. Pele gold.
Yeah. Very, very cool. Grazie. Yeah, maybe it's Italian, not Spanish. Sorry. But yeah, this is something we did a couple years ago. 7 years ago.
Before Adafruit.
Yeah. We just carried it over from our stuff because we thought folks would like it. So there you go. That's all of this week's community makes. Huge shout out to everybody posting their stuff. It's super informational to see. And yeah. All right.
And then a question from Bruce. He's have you had any issues with the heat insert tool? I've heard from folks that invert the iron for prolonged length of time have burnt parts of it out, heat dissipating back into the handle.
Yeah, you're gonna want to definitely don't leave it on and turn it off when it's idle. Yeah, that could definitely be a thing. I haven't had any issues yet, but I don't use it any longer than like a half hour. So maybe that's what's going on. But yeah, that's
probably also printed in the ABS or a PETG.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. And then just general comments on people liking the Pico MIDI fighter. And yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys later tonight. We have a show and tell stream going on. It happens every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. If you'd like to be invited or you'd just like to join, rather, you can go to Discord and PT will post the link to StreamYard so folks can join in 5 minutes before the show. So something about that, somewhere around there. Sometimes it's 10 minutes before. But 7:30 p.m. is when it starts and goes live. And then at 8 p.m. is Ask an Engineer, a full hour of Lamar and Phil talking about open source hardware, new products in the shop, news, and more. And then on Thursday, we got John Park's workshop, every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Scott's doing a deep dive on Fridays, every Friday at 2 p.m. On Sundays, Desk of Lady Ada with the special segment, The Great Search with DigiKey. Tuesdays is JP's product pick of the week, every Tuesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time.
And then it loops right back around to
3D Hangouts, 11 a.m. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Everybody having fun. Where's my Pico? Here's my peaks.
I think you'll play us out now. We'll take a look at this.
You know what I'm playing?
Probably all show next week.
Yeah, and I really want to showcase like setting up a drum kit because I think that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll keep practicing to come up with something. All right, folks. We'll see you guys next time. But until
See you
then.
later tonight.
Yeah. Bye.